Hi, I'm Adam Pally, and I'm on Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen, which is surprising because he signed a legal document that said legally I have to be far enough away from him that I am considered alone.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
Hi, friends, and welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen. I am Jay Kogen, and I am thrilled that you're here. Tell your friends about this show if you like it. And if you don't like it, don't tell your friends about the show. Really just mum's the word. All right, I appreciate that. If you could subscribe to the show, that's great. If you could review the show, that's great. If you could send the show that you like to somebody else, that's great. Or you can just listen in your car or while you're exercising, which is what I do when I listen to podcasts. There's a lot of choices. It's your life. You do what you want. You can also write to me at dbawjk at gmail.com and give me a comment or suggestion, or please send me a listener mail. Any kind of life issue that you have that you can think of, a general philosophy question or a specific life question of yours, let's answer it online right here with a special guest. Just right. Today we do have a special guest, this guy named Adam Pally. Adam Pally is an actor, he's a writer, he's a comedian, does a million things. He's very funny, he's very interesting. I have a lot of mutual friends, and I wanted to ask him about being goofy on the set and having fun. I do a lot of things. I do room jokes. I do jokes at read-throughs. Sometimes I throw a little snark back to executives to be funny, not to be mean. I try to have fun while I'm doing my thing. And is the question I have to Adam, because Jonathan Groff, one of his executive producers, said this guy does some of that, is it good? Is it worthwhile? And am I getting too old to do it? Because lately, I don't do it so much. I don't have the full commitment energy to do bits that last for days and that just never end. I used to, but I don't do it anymore. Does that mean I'm getting better, or does that mean I'm just getting old? We will ask the very talented and the very insightful Adam Pally right after this.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
So this show, Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen, is all about me solving my problems.
Great.
And then you're here to solve my problems.
Do you not have health insurance? You can't go to therapy?
I can, but I find much better talking to experts
than therapists.
And I see a shrink.
You do?
I do.
And what
I
do
go
they
to shrink
think
every Tuesday.
And what do they think about this?
He just says, calm down. Just calm down. Everything will be okay. Stop torturing yourself. Stop thinking, facts are not feelings. Just like if you feel one way, that doesn't mean it's true. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm all right with that.
All right.
But that's not what I come to really smart people like you about. So here's the thing. You're known as a bit of a prankster.
Well,
a little bit.
Okay.
But you have, according to Groff, anyway, Jonathan Groff, he said that on the set of that Happy Endings TV show, you would often have a good time and free form, and people love that about you. And so it's actually one of the things that I was excited to meet you, because it's sort of like, he is a fun, enjoyable, likes to have a good time in the process of his work. Doesn't mean you don't do good work. It just means you like to have a good time. So if you could have a laugh or find something funny to do in the middle of something, maybe even surprise people in the middle of what you're doing when appropriate, you do it. Is that true?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
He loves this about you.
Okay.
So he made it sound like it's a thing. It's something I do all the time.
Right.
When I'm as a writer or as an actor, if I see an opportunity to make people laugh, I do it.
Right.
I take it.
Right. I believe they call us desperate.
Maybe attention seekers. They could
Same
be.
thing.
One of the things that one of my jokes, my go-to jokes, apparently is something that you did on the at either a table read for Happy Endings, which was. When there's a buffet of food, I like to take an inordinate amount of the buffet of food and put it in front of me.
I did do that.
As if I'm going to eat the whole thing.
I did do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought, kindred spirit.
Very much
This
so.
is very kindred spirit.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's
desperate. Desperation. Maybe
yes.
maybe not trusting our talent.
Maybe. Do we think that's what it is?
Sure.
Dig into that. So
Okay.
now I always thought it was a adorable, fun feature of work. But no, you're saying no, it's a problem. If you're doing pranks, then you're not trusting yourself.
No, not in all cases. I think it's a room reading thing, and I think it's personality based, like to the moment and such.
Right.
But I think more often than not, if you look back on your history, the times at which you were extra,
Right.
or did something extra in those circumstances, it probably comes from nerves and lack of self-esteem.
All right. Well, let me describe one that so
Ooh, I'm not gonna like this.
I used to somebody would say something almost innocuous, and I would pretend to get very upset, and I would leave. And if I was by a window, I would run to my car and drive away in view of everybody. So I would actually leave the thing I was doing.
Give me an example. First off, that's very funny, and commitment is the joke.
Full commit. That's
the joke of that bit, right? It's like, how far is he gonna go?
How far is he gonna go?
What is the innocuous thing, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, like somebody saying, if I said, I don't love Fresca, and they said, well, I love Fresca, I would get up and run to. I said, well,
I mean, part of that is insecurity, right? Because the truth of when you get to the truth of that bit, it's really that like you won't share space with people that don't
like Fresca,
like the things that you like.
Correct.
To the point where you'll get up and leave a dinner and drive home, right? That's the joke of that.
That is the joke of that.
The truth of that is that you just did the same thing.
Except that I find that Fresca is not an issue, and I think that the person I'm talking to or running away from would actually enjoy the bit. I'm actually think I'm growing closer to that person, not driving them away.
Doing that bit.
By doing that bit. Because then we shared this experience. Then we shared this common ground.
Okay. How do you think they felt when you left?
Different people react differently. Some people.
Why did you say?
Love it.
Why did you say? Oh.
Because some people don't get the joke. Some people don't like it.
Okay, it came across like you hadn't considered it.
No. So some people are surprised by it,
right?
And other people are not. There's a world of comedians that I live with.
And I would say that commitment is good in a time and place. But I would say if I was eating with you and you did that to me, I would get up and leave.
If you were alone, what if you were with other people?
I would tell everybody that I hated that.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
You would furious. You would drive you nuts.
It would make me crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? And because?
Because why can't you just sit and enjoy the company of everybody else? There's a time for that. You can get everyone to laugh at you when you're presenting something that's worthy of being laughed at.
Right.
You don't need to grab your ball and go home like a baby.
Well, I do come back.
And then what? That moment's awful.
No, that moment's fantastic.
What happens?
People laugh. Generally speaking, people laugh. People. I'm getting the desperate attention you spoke of earlier, thrown sort of reflected back at me.
I would not like it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would not laugh.
So what is your favorite?
I don't like pranks, actually.
Okay.
Like I'm too
I don't like getting pranked.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I'm very I get close to people very quickly, and so I become vulnerable, and I don't like being pranked.
Right.
But I think Groff is referring to that I improvise a lot.
Right.
And especially in that character was like an agent of chaos in a lot of ways. So I was constantly just like, being chaotic and spitting orange juice out from between my teeth, and it was like a clown. So I think Groff probably was responding to that. And then sometimes I would do some stuff like I pranked some friends. Like one time I had a cake printed up with a friend's art project on it, which actually didn't go over that well, and I learned a deep lesson that day.
Okay. Well, so what was the reaction you wanted, and what was the reaction?
I thought it would be funny, but instead it was like I didn't want anyone to see this. This was a deeply vulnerable work of mine.
Oh, so the artist didn't want the art to be shown. Okay.
And I should have respected that.
Right.
It's like, so I learned my lesson that day.
I mean, you could certainly, people who are making jokes of any kind can go too far.
Yes,
there's
of course.
a line, and
then I often think about like the big leagues,
Yep.
like the real true big leagues of comedy,
Right.
like the height of the height
Right.
of the height of the funniest people.
Sure.
And they don't need that.
Yeah.
They don't do that. And so I started to do it less and less and less and less and less and less and less.
I find that this is probably left over from my high school and college days more than it is my, aging into death days. But
Sure.
but part of me thinks that's just the energy level.
Yeah, but energy covers up for content quite a bit.
Yeah, but sometimes there's that youthful comedic energy that
Sure.
that is actually, when it goes hand in hand with decent content.
Sure. Look,
is actually,
I've been around a table and
Right.
given mouth to mouth to a fried fish.
okay,
Right?
Right.
I've done it. That's fun.
Right.
It's all fun. It's
Right.
like we're all making fun.
Right.
Getting up and leaving to
Right.
like prove a bit or whatever.
Right.
I'm not saying one bit. It's all
Right.
similar, right?
Right.
And it's all desperation for the laugh, to feel like here's my place. Here's my
Right.
place in life. I'm the jokester. I make you laugh. That's
Right.
how I define myself.
Right.
You're the this person, this person, this person. I'm the funny person.
Right.
That's how we go. So I don't think one is any better, and I'm not saying one is any more desperate. What I am saying is that what I've learned
Yes. Right.
is that working with people and earning their trust and then being funny together
Right.
is way more rewarding than a prank.
My problem kind of was I don't do it so much anymore. That's what I thought my problem was.
No,
which was
I think you're growing up.
I did it a lot when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And now I don't do it so much anymore. And I read that as a lack of commitment or lack of energy. But
No.
you're saying it's a maturity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
I
right.
think it's good.
See, and part of me is long and wistful and longing for that youthful abandon.
Let me assure you, the people that you are with are not.
Okay. All right.
They're sick of it.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will ask my friends.
Ask your wife.
Oh, well, she's been sick of it from day one.
So
that's not the
usually
problem.
Yeah. That's a good barometer.
No, but I don't do that for my wife. So.
Why? Because you want her to like you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
treat your
Plus-
friends like your wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll pay off.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Really, do you treat all your friends like your wife?
Yeah. That's why I don't fuck them.
There's a certain intimacy that I expect my wife and I have that I probably wouldn't share with a lot of other people.
But you respect her. Like, you wouldn't do that bit for her because you're like, she doesn't want that aggravation.
Right. Oh, more than that. Yeah. She's seen it. She knows it. Like, it's one of that
Right.
bit is old. I wouldn't do the same bit for the same people over and over again.
Oh, okay.
Because if I did that, they'd be
So
sick
that's
of
your way of ingratiating yourself, is that you sit down and then get up and walk away and off.
Yeah, for the same people. It depends on the bit. Depends on who it is.
Yeah.
You judge your audience and
sell a
think,
lot of movies?
would these people do? Yeah. But it's sort of like it's depends on who it is.
Yes, no, for
And
sure.
what it is.
For sure.
So but that's the idea. No, but I don't do it in the middle of pitch meetings.
Yeah.
So in general.
I think another thing that Groff is referring, I have done stuff like that. Like I have not liked the way a pitch meeting is going and stolen a picture off the wall. And like stuff like that I've done.
Right. How did that go? Go over.
I think it's still in my manager's office.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were very upset that I took
Okay.
it. But I took it. I did not like the way that it was
Right.
going. And I was like, this is offensive. And when this meeting's done, I'm going to steal that picture of
Okay.
Shia LaBeouf in Indiana Jones and the Crystal
Right.
Skull.
All right.
And they were like, the hell you are. And I was like, I am.
Right.
And the meeting was gone and we all shook hands. And then I picked it up and took it and walked it to my car and drove it to my manager's office, where it still hangs today.
And they didn't ask for it back?
They did.
And the manager won't give it back?
No,
Why not?
because I said it's mine.
Okay.
I told
And-
them I was going to take it.
But it's not yours.
It's not theirs either. That's like a...
I know, it's stupid. It's a stupid picture.
Yeah.
And fighting about it, also dumb.
Dumb.
Yeah, also dumb.
But like stuff like that I've done. And
Right.
I do. I try not to do
Right.
anymore because I do feel a sense of desperation when I do it.
Right.
And I don't think it's worth that. I want to feel above it.
How badly was the meeting going?
Very badly.
Okay.
Very badly.
And were they insulting?
Yeah, they were. It wasn't that they were insulting. It was just the type of meeting where you're like, you're not even interested in what I'm doing. You don't know what I've done before.
Right.
You're eating.
Right.
You know, like you're on to the next thing.
Right.
And I was really truly just trying to get some energy in the room. You
Right.
know, and I was like describing what I was going
Right.
to do, and then that got a little joke, and they're like, "No, you're not," and I was like, "Yes, I am."
Right.
And then I did it.
But see, there's something to that too, because they'll always remember the guy who took the picture.
I think they're all fired.
Okay. But those people likely maybe work somewhere else.
Probably not right now, but yes.
Yes, but in general,
theory,
it used
yeah.
to be in the old days.
In theory.
when show business still existed.
Well, if you're the executive out there that was in that room, please get in touch with me.
But I mean, it does bespoke I think also artists, and you're not in the highfalutin way, but just the artist is the mindset of the person who is creating and giving this piece is respected differently and treated differently in that room, often in the best of circumstances, so that you can be a little eccentric or interesting.
Well, it used to be that you wanted that, right? It was like, that's why I'm investing the time and the money to see how your intricacies are going to change what I want to do.
Right.
But I don't think it's like that anymore.
Now it's just pure dollars and cents. Mm-hmm. Just, is this a commercial idea, and are you capitalist enough to make it?
Kind of.
All right. That's disappointing?
Can be.
It sounds disappointing for I consider myself somebody who wants to make things that are good and funny and interesting, and I cannot guarantee that anything I'm making is going to be successful financially. I can only guarantee that I think it's going to be as good as I can make it.
But what is a financial success right now?
I would say that there's certain movies, Wolverine or
sure, things that you can buy a ticket to. But I mean, other than that, like there is, it's so hard to quantify what is a financial success.
I don't know. I mean, Mr. Throwback it just came out. It's really good.
Financial success.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, somebody bought it. People are watching it.
Yep.
It's attracting. It's doing what it has to do, which is attract people to a certain place to go watch something.
Exactly.
And so that's a success.
Sure.
People are making money because it exists.
Theoretically.
Many people's jobs are to make sure that the thing that they're picking up, and the idea that they have you and Steph Curry and people like
we hope
people are going to come watch.
We hope. We hope. I think there's always on the other side an immense team of money and technology that is consistently reminding the creatives and the viewer that there's so much content that they already have that it really doesn't behoove them to make much more. And so it's true.
But do you think that's true?
Yes.
Because I don't think it does behoove them. I honestly don't.
I don't think it behooves them, but I think in their mind and the people that they've hired and the way that the stockholders value success, it's about profit margin. Right. And so
the short-term success is the enemy of the long-term good. So
right. And so that's a bad model for television, which takes a long time to be profitable. So it's like very hard, I think, in this day and age to create anything with any sort of like soul or spine.
Right. But they're also, I think, the business minds are looking at the landscape and saying, well, this isn't working either. We thought people would just keep subscribing forever to this limited, barrel of content. And then the truth is people aren't. And then people subscribe for a little while, then they don't, and then there's turnover, and new content is required for people to get interested in things. I don't think they're going to pay for it the way that they were hoping they'd be paid for, which is subscription.
Right. You think it's all going to go back to an ad-based?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, it makes sense. Like, why not? They had the only power they had was withholding your content.
Right.
And saying, we'll show you the content if you watch the advertisements for other content that's been paid for to subsidize the original content.
Correct.
And once they took that away, they don't have enough money. Right. Even like the monsters.
Agreed. And if they want to do the advertising-based content, which I think most people are headed towards, you also have to have hits. In other words, you can't just say a new thing. You got to say a new thing that's really good. And you have to sort of narrow people's focus to that thing.
And in order to do that, you have to double down on things that are new.
Correct.
And that's very challenging. You have to make more of new things.
That's right.
And they don't want to do that either.
Because they don't want to spend the money.
Right.
But they're going to have to if they want to stay in business.
We'll see. I think that's being tested right now.
Exactly.
Truly. I think that's why things are not being made. I think we're going through a process where it's like, let's see how long we need to go in this cycle. Is it the type of, they're literally creating the new TV seasons, right? Like, how long do we have to wait before we drop new content?
Right. I agree.
I think that's why everyone in town is like, oh yeah, I haven't had a meeting in weeks.
Right. It's if the studios know that they can improve their bottom line by not spending money because there's still some ammunition left in the gun for this content that's being rolled out, occasionally a new thing, but mostly the old stuff. But that's running out.
Yeah, but that's how that, and the good part of that is how they used to do TV. That was the TV model,
Correct.
right? It's like, we'll spend money in January to it used to be like you take pitch meetings in July, you buy the show
Right.
in August, you develop it until January. If you get picked up, you shoot it in the spring, it gets decided on, and then you pick it up and it goes on the next year.
Right.
And the reason was that because they didn't want to spend all that money in something that wasn't going to theoretically continue.
Right. It was a test market.
It was a test market
Yeah.
model, and
Right.
now that's gone.
Right.
So
I will say this, as a beneficiary of that model for many years, where I sold pilots that didn't go on, and I thought, well, why not? If I were running the network, I would make less pilots, but put them on. In other words, I would just say,
or 6. I mean, the cost of 6 episodes versus a movie is negligent.
Right.
You're spending less on 6 episodes than a movie, and your studio is all combined. So like, make 1 less Fall Guy, and make 3 more pilots.
sure,
And put
or 3
them
more series.
or 3 more series,
Yeah.
and put them out,
yeah,
and see if that works.
right. I think
give the
that's
audience a chance to decide on the content, and then you have the content and it's
Right.
there. But I don't think that will happen. I really don't. I think that the numbers will eat their own tail.
maybe. We'll see. I know that I was raised on TV in a different way than my son is being raised on TV, but I do know that he and his friends are very interested in funny things.
Sure.
They're very interested in interesting content and good shows. They watch shows from my son's watching Sopranos right now, nonstop watching Sopranos.
But isn't that what we're talking about?
yeah,
'Cause
I know.
that was Sopranos 30 years old.
Right. I'm saying that is the old stuff, and he's looking because there's nothing new for him to watch. But if there was something new for him to watch that his community
Has he seen
was
Mad Men?
excited about, I'm not sure.
So he'll move on. I don't think that's true, dude. I hate to be
No,
I
fair
hate
enough.
to play devil's
Yeah.
advocate, but I don't think that's really true. I think that he'll move on from Sopranos to Mad Men as he gets older, and then he'll discover Breaking Bad, and then from Breaking Bad he'll move into this year's, like, Ripley is really great,
Right.
or like the amount of things right now that are great is astonishing. And so they're already made and they're already out.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't think so. I don't think they will. And if anything, I think they'll start to buy and license more. So what'll happen is, like, you'll have to make it yourself.
Right.
And then they'll license it. So you'll have to find like an A24 or a big money, even in network.
Right.
I don't think they're going to do it anymore. I
No.
really truly feel
Right.
like they feel like we have enough.
I don't know. We'll see. I think it's pretty stale. If you're running a company, if you're the president of, name it, Sony, Disney, Netflix, Prime Video, any of those things, they're going to want to have things that they're making
Yeah, they do. They have a couple things.
to be alive and well. And
Yeah,
then-
but they have a couple things, and then that's it.
and if
it's
you're
sports.
selling advertising dollars
Mm-hmm.
on these things, on top of that, you want them to be well received and big. Some of them to be big hits, so that
but-
they can charge money.
Yes, but again, I hate to be the
Hmm?
you pay a minimum you pay an amount every month so that you can listen to the Beatles whenever and wherever you want, all those songs, right?
Sure.
You would not be happy if that was taken away from you.
Right.
So whoever owns that catalog, Apple or whatever, is going to make that money from you in perpetuity so that you can listen to the Beatles.
Right.
The same thing is going to happen to people who want to watch the comforting bedrocks that have always been there, which are truly more valuable now than ever, more valuable than any new content ever could be. So
you know-
I hate to be grim,
Right.
but I really do think that we've hit a wall on that level where, as long as you're willing to pay $9.99 so you can have The Office and Seinfeld, that's all they need.
I think less and less people are willing to pay $9.99.
I don't know, dude.
So I don't know.
People love The Office.
People-
People fall asleep to it, especially young kids.
Yeah.
People love Seinfeld. People
Yeah.
love Friends. That's what we love. That's why we had cable. It's the same model. It's like, that's what syndication was. We're just not getting paid.
Right.
Syndication was because everyone loved those. I Love Lucy.
Right.
I love it. I'll watch it for 20 years. I'll find new things in it. I'll be nostalgic for that time. You grow old with it. It's the same thing, but it's now in this like time is like a flat circle thing where your new show is your new band is competing for streams with the Beatles.
True, but is there something to say that the new band might have, or new art or new show might have something to say about living right now in 2024, 2025 that the Beatles might not have specifically appeal to?
No.
In other words, no. You think that's time? There's now timeless classics. Period.
Yes.
And everything
time
else
is flat.
And time and experience.
Experience is flat. Once in a while, things will squeak through to affect the general consensus, but because of the fact that everything is so niche and everyone has their own things, there is nothing that can affect the core except things that have been there before or have snuck through slightly. So it's just a fact of the way that media exists. And I know it's like, it's disheartening.
Right.
But if we're talking about the future of the business, I feel like it's like these major houses are turning into just like licensing places, and soon like NBC soon will be this. Like you'll sell this to NBC.
Do you think that, for example, Mr. Throwback will get a second season?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the advantage to them? They already have a season locked in. If there's no need for more of it or new.
Well, I think we're very lucky.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Curry is an amazing person and an amazing business and an amazing he's one of those people, and we're involved with him.
Right.
And so I think that's very lucky, and I think he's one of those people that people tune in for.
Right.
I mean, he's like Buzz Armstrong, like he saved America,
right?
And he's beloved. And so I think on that level, as long as he wants to do it,
right,
we'll have a home.
But there's nobody like, he's I will say there's been other sports heroes and other cool guys, but he's unique in his own way.
Yes, he's unique in his own way.
When somebody's unique like that, they do it, like you're saying, they attract. They have a light around them, and they attract.
And he does. And so I think, that's one of the reasons that they would do it. And then I think the other thing, which is the sad fact, is that they'll do it at the expense of something else. And that other thing, not saying that it'll be better, but it could have been different.
Right.
And look, I'm lucky that I think we're going to get a second season, but I know they don't take shots on everything anymore.
Right.
And so if you don't have a Stephen Curry, it's hard. Right. It's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I have 3 Stephen Currys, so that's good. That's lucky for me.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
there's only one that I know of.
I have a lab. It's cool. It's not a problem.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I hope it's not like multiplicity and they're like lower versions of Stefan each time.
Everybody's got their own unique individual flaw, but overall,
because Seth doesn't shoot as well as Stefan.
Is that right? Oh shit. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, there's a downgrade.
Because I took DNA from a different spot.
So
all right.
Downgrade.
All right. Well, whatever. It's good. Well, tell me about that experience then of hooking up with, not in that way, but hooking up with Stephen Curry and just finding a simpatico with him. And that
it was
experience.
Amazing. It was truly like one of the best things I think it is the best thing I've ever done, and one of the most fulfilling and fun things, because he's a great guy. He's like a great person with a light around him, like you said. And the way we met was really organic for Hollywood. His wife had a television show on HBO where they interviewed married couples, and me and my wife were on, and we just kind of hit it off, and his producing partner saw it and was like, do you have any ideas? And then me and my partner were like, here's one, and kept talking, and then it worked, and every step of the way he's so involved and so organic, and it was just a huge like uplifting experience. And the studio was great, and the network was great. They were an amazing partner, and like I've never had that before. So
great.
Every part of the way through was just awesome.
Now, when he comes to town, do you get to go to the floor of the Knicks games or that kind of stuff? And
I mean, maybe. I don't really like to do that to him. Like I enjoy him as a person now. We're like friends,
right?
And so I really don't like to like ask him for stuff.
But you'd go see your friend in a show,
right? And I will, but I don't like to ask him like, can you give me floor seats or anything? I'll just go, and then I'll try to say hello. But I really try to limit my like Steph like there's a line in the show that Echo says where she says everybody treats him like Shark Tank, and like that is true.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be part of that.
Okay. So what's your limit?
Anything really.
And
I
you don't ask anything of him.
I've never asked anything of him other than be in the show.
Right. Oh, which is a nice big ask.
Truly, yeah.
But
no, I've never asked.
But it helps. But that ask is also you'll enjoy this and it'll be good for you.
Yeah. And he wanted. I mean, we were friends, and like the script again. Like the script is one of the funniest scripts I've ever been a part of, and it's the Casp and Libmans are the best in the business, and you got the script and it was like undeniable. So I think on that level it's good. It's like he's smart in that way.
Right. You grew up in New York, right?
I grew up in New York City for the majority of my life.
And the Actors Studio and also UCB. And
UCB at night, yeah.
So you're around all these people who want to do what you do.
Or who do what I do better than I do.
Do what you do. And some of whom are doing well and some of whom are not.
Mostly they're all doing well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you have found yourself in a group of very successful actors. Do you think, how did you weed out the people who are not?
First of all, I didn't weed out the people that aren't successful. I would never base my friendships.
No, I understand that. But it's like, how did Kismet, how did fate?
It doesn't. Like, I think truly it was a time, someone eventually will write like the like Live from New York version of the UCB at that time. Mm-hmm. But it truly was like I've never since that day like had such an electric small group of like talented people where everywhere you turned they were and are now part of the zeitgeist.
What do you think it was that attracted all of them to UCB? And obviously UCB didn't create that talent, but it was just an attractive place for everybody to be.
I think long form improv, even though it's nerdy and for the most part bad and really hard to watch and really hard to do, it is for an actor, writer, sketch comedian, improviser, someone who loves Saturday Night Live, someone who maybe is not comfortable alone on stage with a mic talking about themselves. It was like a real freedom that you got when you saw it done right. You didn't have to memorize lines. You didn't have to decide to play a character till moment of. You could change things in the middle.
Right.
You could edit a scene. It was like, so I think in a lot of ways, the UCB brought it to New York, and New York was bubbling, ready for it because it had all this potential. Like that's where Saturday Night Live is, Right. And for so many years they're pulling comedians out of Chicago, and it was just like, well, right under their fingertips was New York, and I think the UCB just like, like hit a pipe. Yeah.
Who are the people, the icons then, who you met there, and you say like, how grateful I am to have worked with them and learned with them and been part of that world?
It's too many to even name, like even in. It's not even.
Are any of them lifelong friends now?
Yeah, of course.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, I went to see Childish Gamino sold out 2 nights in Barclays.
Right.
And my son is a huge fan. So I emailed Donald, who I went to college with.
Okay.
And we went to see his show, and then we went backstage, and my son was freaking out, and he was like, "Oh my God, I thought you were such a loser. How do you know Childish Gambino?" You know. And Donald was like, "I can't believe how old your son is." It's like, yeah, all of them are lifelong friends. I think all of them are lifelong friends. Very few of the like 100 or so people that, maybe less, maybe 60 to 75 people who I was in that world with, who have now grown up to be forces in their own way, I am lifelong friends with.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I find that there's a bonding that happens when you're coming up.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic, especially you see talented people, you get inspired by them, they get inspired by you. The phrase of, a rising tide lifts all boats, when suddenly people are
yes.
finding themselves.
I don't love the Republican imagery of it, but yeah.
I'm a huge Republican.
I think actually that's Democratic. I think rising tide lifts all boats is Democratic. I think pick yourself up by your bootstraps is Republican.
Right. And nobody can pick themselves up by their own bootstraps.
No,
they can't. Physically impossible.
No, they need mom and dad to help.
Exactly. So people need help.
No, but a rising tide does. I agree, and I do think that like. Yeah, it was like that. It was like that.
So now, if Mr. Throwback gets picked up, or has it gotten picked up?
I can't say.
If it gets picked up.
I can't. Wink, wink.
In a
world.
In the best world possible.
In a world where the
When might
NBA is on NBC and they need as much.
When might you go back to create?
That's a good question. You know, that's always the Mr. Throwback question, because we build our schedule around two people, Stephen Curry and Ego Wodum, and both are pretty tied up.
Right.
But ideally, I think writing wise, I would like to be at least writing by done with writing by the All-Star game.
Right.
Because I think that there's a lot of NBA stuff left a lot of chicken on that bone for us to gnaw on, you know?
That's great. And then in between then and now, are you creating anything else you're trying to?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot. I work really slowly, and I don't book a lot of roles I don't write for myself, which is both fortuitous for my family and then tough for our money. Right. But I work really slowly on shows. It takes me a couple years to get them up and running. So I have a couple things that I'm slowly in development on, and then last year I shot a special, like a 1 hour special that I'm in the midst of editing, and I think it's actually going to be more of a movie, concert movie. So I have some stuff like that, and I'm really focused on not letting I don't want to be beholden to this place. Right. So you want to be in charge of yourself, make your own stuff, and then see how it goes. Yeah. That's great. That's great. It seems like it's a good model, especially now. I mean, there's so many ways to do so many different things now. Who knows what it is? Well, I've never Patreon. I mean, they're the individual kind of Patreon things. There's that are millionaires. Right. You know, they're millionaires a million times over that are stand-up comics you've never heard of. Right. So I think that's real. I would ask you which ones, but since I've never heard of them, I don't know them either. They're all from Austin. Everybody's from Austin. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Austin just seems like a hellhole. Any city where they're where you're what's that noise? And they're like, the bats. Yeah. It's not for me. And ironically, Batman, Gotham City, the city you live in. If Batman was from Austin, Texas, he would have a podcast. He would. That's true. This is Batman's podcast, where everybody watch the movie. Did everybody watch the movie? If you didn't see Deadpool and Wolverine, it's not going to work when we talk about it. Batman, it's interesting that Batman is still in anybody's mind after 100 years. It's been 100 years of Batman. But all the comic book characters are I'm bored with them. I'm bored with them. All of them. It's all the same. I mean, you'll be bored with them until the next one, and you're whoa! It's a carnival ride. I like it. Yeah. You're not done with. I mean, you're still on the Marvel universe. Yeah, I am a small part of it. I'm the smallest part of the Marvel universe. Yeah. I played Gary the cameraman in Iron Man 3. Okay, that's right. And I still think there's room for him to find a bigger role. Could Gary get his own spinoff? I mean, you always need cameramen. I know, but I mean, it's what is Gary seeing now? That kind of thing. Surveillance. Exactly. It's a big, let's start thinking. Or Gary suddenly gets hit by some sort of radiation wave and gets some kind of superpower. He doesn't need the camera anymore. Yeah, because he can record it in his mind. Exactly. Yeah. And that's his special power. Well, let's talk to Kevin Feige about the whole thing. Sure, I got him on speed. I mean, they have that on lockdown. You can't use Gary any other way. That's completely owned. Yeah. Gary's owned. But you can make a phone call. I make a lot of phone calls. Yeah. They don't answer them. Eventually they will have to. Yes. You'll make them answer. Yes. All right. Well, I'm glad I got to know. I didn't really get to solve this sort of needy comedy thing of mine, because you've gone way past it. You've matured beyond it to even help me with it. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that you have. I think that you just in this interview seem less likely to get up and walk out. Well, I am less likely to walk out of this particular thing. Yeah, so I think in general, grown. I don't run to my car and take off as much anywhere. Mainly, energy-wise. Also, people around me have seen it. Right.
I can't do
It's
the
old
same
material.
bit again.
Yeah.
So I have to always think of new bits.
You could always just take a shit on the table.
That ruins everybody's time. I don't want to ruin it. My leaving, I think, doesn't ruin anybody's time.
Well, then just shit your pants.
Yeah, but I don't want. It's hard.
Come on, commit.
I will, based on the suggestion.
Good. Send me the picture.
Oh wait, I'm trying to figure it out now. No, I have to wait. But all right. Yeah, I thought I could produce something now,
on command.
So now it's
That's what they call your writing, right?
exactly. Well, you have to do everything on command if you're good.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go to listener mail.
Great.
Now it's time for listener mail.
So it says, "Dear Jay and guest, what's the moment everything changed for you? And did you make it happen, or were you just along for the ride?" Signed, Papa Hemingway Smurf.
I think the moment that everything changed for me was when I stepped foot in downstairs in the Upright Citizens Brigade,
Yep.
or upstairs at the time. Because I saw what I saw on stage was like what I was in my head thought that I always wanted to like say and do.
Right.
And they were doing it just like I thought, like, and getting huge laughs, and it was like
Right.
punk rock, and it was like, you know, and so I think at 1920 when I saw that, and then was like, oh, I'm gonna be here every day, I'm gonna work here, I'm gonna, even if I can't afford it, take classes through working here, I'm gonna clean here,
Right.
and then eventually I'll be on stage here. It was like, that was, I think even with all the rest of the stuff that happened, had I not walked into that place, I don't think I would have had the same like spark.
You're describing something that I tell everybody in the world to do, which is there's something about having desire to do whatever it is, whatever your thing is, and then finding the scene, finding the group of people.
Your tribe.
Yeah. And they're not always immediately available to you where you are, and you have to go find them. But once you find them, the support that you feel, the camaraderie you feel, the kinship you feel, the creative energy you feel lifts you and lifts everybody together. And
Completely.
that is so important. I don't think anybody, I always say no one does it alone.
No.
At all.
No, and I
so,
would never have gotten here.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said for years, you've always said people do it alone, and I'm correcting you now.
Yes.
No one does it alone.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to change the title of my book. I did this alone.
But that's the thing. You find your scene, and then you expand on that.
Yeah.
And you take from all of everything you can take from it, and you give everything you can give to it, and then you come out with something hopefully inspirational and better, and it moves you forward.
Yeah, and a voice.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and a true like voice. I think you learn how to like use your skills. Learn, you know, shake what your mama gave you.
Right. And make a million mistakes.
Yeah.
That's a good place to make a million mistakes.
Got to make a million mistakes to make $1 million.
Is that it?
I just made that up.
I don't know. That's a lot of mistakes and a lot of bucks. It may be.
I probably wouldn't know either way, but
I might do the math a little differently. But you got to make.
You got to make $500,000 mistakes to make $1 million.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in with that. Fantastic.
Still a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's a lot of mistakes. Well, it was great meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
And thanks for sharing with me all your insights and your wisdom.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
This was great, and I'm thrilled that you're in Los Angeles for is it for the Emmys?
Yeah.
Are you here for the Emmys?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
Are you nominated?
No, I am not.
You just show up outside.
I
with
just
a
show
fan?
up outside in a tuxedo, being like, I'm supposed to be here. I feel like I should be. I'm Illuminati, but I got to figure out what's up.
I've gone to the Emmys, holding Emmys I've won in the past, making people think that I've won an Emmy.
That's that's a bit I'm in on.
Okay, there you go. And
Yeah.
people treat you so nicely and say, congratulations.
It does reek of the other bit too, because it is
all my bits
extremely desperate.
All my bits reek of desperation.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Well, yeah, of course.
There's no question.
You're a
That's
comic.
that's just being insightful about who I am.
Sure.
And so
Tap
nobody
in.
nobody does this podcast business for no money unless there's a little bit of desperation at least.
Yes, no, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm
It's
here.
a whole industry built on desperation.
And then the question is like, why am I doing this? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
Well, that makes me feel great.
Okay, that's good. But I do enjoy it. And
Good.
and the reason I do it, and the reason I started is I wanted to meet people.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be alone, and I wanted to
No,
connect with people.
it's horrible.
So now at some point, I might run into you. And even though we have not become the best of friends,
I say we have a rapport.
We have a rapport, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm good with the rapport. That's fantastic.
100%.
And I like it.
And I would work with you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My jury's out, but I'll see how that goes.
You're like most of Hollywood.
It was great to meet you, man.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for being here. And thank you, the audience, for being here. Don't be alone. Go meet somebody or do something or find your tribe. Find your scene and get involved with that. You will thank us later. See you next time.
Don't be alone.